I call to order this meeting of the Washington County Board of Education and declare a quorum. This evening, I'm pleased to introduce a fifth grade student from Potomac Heights Elementary School, Ashley Buckley. Ashley is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Ashley?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
Do you have someone here this evening that you'd like to introduce?
I have my principal, Mrs. Stark, my mother, and my dad, my friend Justin, and my grandparents.
Well, good evening. Thank you for being here in support of Ashley. Ashley, thank you for doing the pledge for us and leading us in a moment of silence as well. How are things these days at Potomac Heights?
Really good.
Really good? Could you tell us something about your studies at Potomac Heights? Something that you enjoy, perhaps?
I like my teacher, Miss Gillespie. She makes reading fun.
She makes reading fun?
And math.
And how does she do that? Can you tell us?
Like she has fun activities in math to do.
Oh, that's good to hear. So she gets you engaged in your learning?
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous, fabulous. Colleagues, do you have anything you'd like to ask of Ashley this evening?
Ashley, how about activities? Do you have any hobbies or involved in any clubs or anything?
Well, after school, or out of school, I like to ride my bike or play with my friends and go up to the Humane Society, Antietam, and walk the shelter dogs.
Oh,
Fifth grade is almost over. Are you looking forward to middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I understand you have something going on back at Potomac Heights this evening. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you involved in that?
No.
No, but are you going back to
No.
see it? No, you're not going? Oh, okay. Just your principal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ashley, again, I thank you for being here this evening, and I wish you all the best in these last few days. Are you starting to do the countdown yet?
Yeah.
What's today's number?
22nd.
All right. All right, thank you again, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Good luck to you. Okay, first item of business is to approve this evening's agenda.
Move for approval?
Thank you. Thank you. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? Any discussion? All those in favor of approval? 6-0, and the student member concurs. Approval of the minutes?
Madam President, I move to approve the closed session minutes dated Tuesday, May 1st, 2018.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections to our first set of minutes? No? All those in favor of approval? Okay, 6-0.
Madam President, I move for the approval of business meeting minutes dated Tuesday, May 1st, 2018.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Any additions or corrections to that set of minutes? All those in approval? All right, 6-0, student member concurs. And we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is the superintendent's report, which we'll do now and then again after new business. So, Dr. Michael.
Thank you, President Williams, members of the board. Our celebrations continue over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I know the board's been involved in many, many celebrations of the accomplishments of our students. We're so proud of their efforts, and the celebrations will continue tonight. Our first celebration will be our Maryland Seal of Biliteracy Student Awards. Ms. Paula Moore will be coming forward in just a few minutes to recognize 14 of our students that have received that recognition. Immediately following Paula's presentation, Kim Hutzel will come forward. We have students that advanced to the We the People national competition from Boonesboro for the 4th year in a row. So we'd like to recognize those students that are with us this evening. Also, Kim will be sharing 2 other presentations. Maryland History Day High School Teacher of the Year was named from Washington County, and Kim's going to share that information. We're going to recognize that gentleman. And Mr. Ridenauer gave us a little insight into one of our middle school students who wrote an excellent essay at our last board meeting, and she's here tonight, and I'll let Kim introduce her as well. Following that, Dr. Akers is going to come up. We're going to recognize one of our teachers for an outstanding CTE program in the state of Maryland, as well as our Associate Superintendent, Dr. Pugh, for innovations in CTE. And then finally, Nicole Marshall or Michelle Harmon will come forward and recognize our Trig Star competition winner for the state of Maryland, who will also be sitting for a test for the National Trig Star competition, a gentleman that's been here a couple times already over the last couple years. And with that, I'm going to invite Paula to say a few words, introduce our guest, and then before we introduce the students, we'll have the board members go down front, and we'll stay down front for all the presentations. So Paula, if you'd share a few comments, that would be great.
Good evening, Dr. Michael and elected members of the board. I'm pleased to introduce you to our special guest, Maryland State Department of Education World Language Specialist, Ms. Bonnie Pachulis. Washington County is one of 16 districts participating in the Maryland Seal of Biliteracy this year. It is with great pride that I present the 2018 Maryland Seal of Biliteracy recipients. These seniors have met high proficiency standards for reading, speaking, listening, and writing in English and in a second language, and all of tonight's recipients, their second language is Spanish. More recipients will receive this award later in the summer after advanced placement and international baccalaureate scores are made available. I'm very pleased to present these students to you. So students, when I call your name, go ahead and please come forward.
Okay.
Students will be receiving a graduation medal, which is a medallion that can be worn at graduation that is given to students throughout the state, along with the certificate. All right. Boonesboro High School, Colton Bear. Boonesboro High School, Nicholas Kaufman. Boonesboro High School, Ajay Kasuri. Boonesboro High School, Sierra Smith DeLeo. And Boonesboro High School, Sarah Vialba. North High, Karina Ortega. Smithsburg High, Lissy Sanchez Molina. South High, Graciela Amaguana. South High, Arturo Bonilla. South Hagerstown High School, Kathy Ninwa Chachu. And South Hagerstown High School, Sophie Sargent. Williamsport High School, Andrew Huffer. Williamsport High School, Alexa Thomas. And Williamsport High School, Pise Yun. Congratulations.
Hang on, there's a couple behind you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you for joining us tonight to recognize the social studies achievements of some of our finest students and staff. First, I would like to recognize the Boonesboro We the People team. The Boonesboro team placed first in the Washington County Public School District Competition in November. Again, they placed first at the Maryland State Competition in January and advanced to the national competition for the 4th year in a row. We are ecstatic to recognize their hard work and the dedication of both the teacher and our students. As each name is called, students, please come forward to be recognized. We ask that the audience please hold their applause until all students have been announced, and of course, we will also take a brief picture. Brett Ballum, Connor Blair, Megan Blair, Ellie Conley, Nick Kaufman, Chase Price, Josh Ridgely, Anya Smith, Bailey Stitley, and their teacher, Mrs. Ashley Vassick. The following students are also a part of the team, but were unable to attend tonight's recognition: Stanley Allison, Elizabeth Cofrancesco, Nick Cofrancesco, Madeline Davis, Susan Harris, Rainer Heidemann, Emma Horn, Kaylee Perkins, Will Stan, Daniel Stauffer, Lucas Stauffer, and Trevor Willard. Thank you.
Me and this kid practice.
I am also happy to recognize Mr. Samuel Spender, a social studies teacher at North Hagerstown High School, who was recognized as Maryland's High School History Day teacher for 2018. He will be Maryland's nominee for the National James F. Harris Teacher Award. This prestigious national honor will be selected on June 14th at the National History Day competition.
Congratulations, sir. You made us proud.
I'll get into this. Two good-looking guys here.
Congratulations, Neil.
Lastly, I would like to recognize Miss Eloise Hardings, an 8th grader from Boonesboro Middle School. Ms. Hardings recently competed in the Maryland History Day competition on April 28th at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. At the competition, Ms. Hardings was selected to advance to the national competition for her historical paper, The Calverts, the Crosslands, and the Maryland Flag. The National History Day competition will be held June 10th through the 14th at the University of Maryland, College Park.
Congratulations on your accomplishment. Would you take her? Congratulations.
Good evening. I'd like to invite Dr. Peggy Pugh and Mr. Brad Stoudemire forward. At the annual CT Awards of Excellence for 2018, Mr. Brad Stoudemire was awarded the Outstanding Secondary CTE program for the state of Maryland. Mr. Stoudemire is the instructor for the Homeland Security program at the Public Service Academy. The award was sponsored by Maryland State Department of Education's Division of College and Career Readiness. He is instrumental in creating opportunities for students by duplicating real-world experiences that prepare them for a career in Maryland's high-skilled workforce of the future or an advanced degree in higher education. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Stoudemire. You made us proud. It's very proud.
So we also have Dr. Peggy Pugh, Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. She was awarded the Innovations in CTE Award for implementing cutting-edge ideas in CTE.
Trade start.
Good evening. I'm here to recognize Mr. Jathan Menser, and he is the winner of our TrigStar program this year. The TrigStar program is an annual high school mathematics competition and national test, promoting the study of trigonometry in high schools and acquainting high school mathematics students with the practical application of trigonometry. Michael Boyce, chair for both the Appalachian chapter and the TrigStar program for Maryland Society of Surveyors, volunteers to work with Washington County mathematics teachers, incorporating surveying and the application of trigonometry into their mathematics classes. This year, over 400 students participated in the TrigStar program at 8 high schools. Each winner from the individual high schools will receive recognition and a check for $75. And I'd like to take a moment just to mention their names as well. From Boonesboro, William Daub; Clear Spring, Grace Weber; Hancock, Spencer Hose; North, Tim Seifert; South, Adelina Rolea; Smithsburg, Sierra Dubuque; Tech High, Alex Wasdala; and Williamsport, of course, Jathan Menser. And he is the student of Miss Susan Cottonbaugh. He is a senior from Williamsport and has won first place in the school, county, and state level of TrigStar. And he's preparing to test at the national level now. He scored a 100 on the TrigStar exam, placing him first at Williamsport High School and first in Washington County's competition. In addition, he placed first in the state of Maryland. Jathan placed first in last year's competition for school, county, and state as well, as many of you know. So he will celebrate with his AP Calculus teacher, Ms. Cottonbaugh, and his class as he prepares to move on. The scoring panel shared that our scores were wonderful and times were impressive. Congratulations to the teachers of Washington County Public Schools for the noticeable improvement, and to each of the winners and all participants. At this time, we would like to present Mr. Menser and Ms. Cottonbaugh, who is unable to attend, I believe, with certificates of recognition for their accomplishments. And additionally, I have Jathan's award check for $500 that I would like to share with him.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
on your accomplishments.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I know. I told her we'd hire her. Better benefits.
For the moment, I'm finished.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. This is the part of our meeting where we open the floor to public comment. We have no one signed up in advance. Do we have anyone here this evening who would like to come forward? Okay. We have no old business, so we'll move to our first agenda item under new business, the consent agenda.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board. This evening, we have 12 items for your review. These items were reviewed by the Purchasing Review Committee, and they are being recommended for your approval. Staff is here if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt.
Madam President, I move to approve the awards, renewals, and procurements for digital curriculum for secondary education to Apex Learning Digital Curriculum Solutions at a cost of $343,200. Natural gas supply to WGL Energy Services, Inc. at a cost of .3957 per therm. Water line replacement at Smithsburg Middle School to Borley Mechanical Contracting LLC at a cost of $104,401. Playground equipment and installation to Playground Specialist, Inc. at a cost of $54,321.23. And Cunningham Recreation at a cost of $146,064.58. Professional design services security improvements at 8 schools to Nolker and Hall Associates Incorporated at a total cost of $120,827.80. Local fresh produce renewal from Greensburg Farms Wholesale Produce Company and Reinhardt Orchards, Inc. per the attached price sheets. Sump pump replacement at Fountaindale Elementary School from Milton Stamper Builders at a total cost of $142,809. Security improvements at Boonesboro Middle School from GRC General Contractor, Inc. at a cost of $97,613. Conveyor dish machine at Eastern Elementary School to MTS Equipment at a cost of $31,424. On-call painting services from Earn Contractors at a cost of $53,960, and TCI Contracting at a cost of $68,450. Heating oil transport deliveries renewal from James River Solutions at 35 cents plus the weekly oil price information service, wholesale price per gallon. And heating oil tank wagon deliveries renewal from AC&T Company at .149 plus the weekly oil price information service, wholesale price per gallon.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any questions for Mr. Crew or any discussion? Mrs. Fisher?
Just a comment, if it's possible. I was wondering if in the future, somebody could keep a running list of what we are spending on all the digital resources per year.
Absolutely. We're tracking down, per your question over the weekend, we are tracking down that information. Staff needs some time to sort of vet because it does fall under multiple line items and so forth. So we're tracking that back a couple of years, and we'll be able to keep that as a running total.
I appreciate that. I tried to go through the budget myself, but I'm not sure what all line items the digital material comes under. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Bickford's motion is approval of the consent agenda. All those in favor? Okay. Sorry. Oh, that's all right. 6-0. Student member concurs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is a consideration of a request from the City of Hagerstown. Mr. Trotta?
Good evening. During the Board of Education's last business meeting, a representative of the City of Hagerstown presented a request to the Board of Education that it deed 11 acres of land that is currently being used by the city for its golf course back to the City of Hagerstown. The members of the Board of Education are being requested at this time to consider the City of Hagerstown's request. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trotta. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the resolution declaring 11 acres of certain real property located in the city of Hagerstown as surplus property, provided that the real property continues to be used by the city of Hagerstown as a golf course. If the real property is not used as a golf course, it is to be deeded back to the Board of Education of Washington County.
Thank you, Mr. Ridenour. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Is there any discussion or questions for Mr. Trotta? Okay, if not, the motion is to approve the resolution that Mr. Ridenour read, declaring 11 acres of certain real property located in the city of Hagerstown as surplus property, provided that the real property continues to be used by the city of Hagerstown as a golf course. If the real property is not used as a golf course, it is to be deeded back to the Board of Education of Washington County. All those in favor? Okay, 6-0. Student member concurs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next consideration is the donation in the amount of $6,500 to Williamsport High School from the Williamsport High School Athletic Boosters, and a donation of the master workstation and tool storage unit valued at approximately $21,000 from Lincoln Tech Matco Tools to Washington County Technical High School. Dr. Akers, did I take away your thunder? I didn't mean to.
That made it real easy for me, so. Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, and Dr. Michael. As President Williams stated, I'm here on behalf of 2 high schools requesting your permission for those donations. I would just add that the donation of the master workstation and tool storage unit is a result of a student, Kayla Kelly, who won a contest by presenting a video, and she was awarded $1,700 for herself, and if you approve, approximately $21,000 in tools and tool storage unit. So that and the donation to Williamsport High School from the boosters, I'm requesting your approval of both.
Thank you, Dr. Akers. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve a gift of $6,500 to Williamsport High School from the Williamsport High School Athletic Boosters, and a donation of a master workstation and tool storage unit valued at approximately $21,000 from Lincoln Tech Matco Tools to WCTHS.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Any questions for Dr. Akers or any discussion?
I just want to say thank you to Kayla Kelly for her essay and nice.
A very simple, I won't say, not simple in simple, I mean, this is a message in front of her computer, but a very powerful message where she shares her passion for wanting to, and as always, wanted to be a mechanic, and shares that family kind of value and her interest, and it's quite compelling. It's really neat to watch. And I think it's this Thursday, it's the exact same time as our Marshall Street graduation, but the tool company is going to be here. I'm hoping that they're actually going to roll off the tools to her and to the school that day, so that'll be a pretty exciting presentation. I might stop there and be a few minutes late for Marshall Street if I can try to squeeze 2 things in, but her message is very good.
That's great. Anyone else? Okay, so the motion is on approval of the 2 gifts. All those in favor? Okay, 6-0. Student member concurs. Thank you, Dr. Akers.
Thank you.
And next item for consideration is the award of a contract, and that's all I'm going to say. Mr. Pruitt.
Thank you once again, Mrs. Williams, members of the board. Tonight, staff is here seeking your approval to proceed with a contract with the Bowman Development Group for the construction of the Urban Educational Campus Board of Education component as part of the larger urban improvement project. At the Board of Education meeting on April 17, I advised the board and the community of this impending contract approval per Code of Maryland regulations. Bowman Development Company will deliver the building designed to our specifications for a gross maximum price of $18,677,201.36. This fee includes design, construction, utility and permitting allowances, contingency, insurance, and transfer of the real property to the BOE at the completion of the project. Additionally, staff is seeking your approval to proceed with the construction of the 3rd floor connecting bridge between this new building and the Maryland Theater at a cost of $42,900. This amount will be payable to the Maryland Theater to cover the cost of this alternate expense in their contract. The connecting bridge will provide safe, secure, and enclosed passage for Barbara Ingram students between the classroom building and the theater. The theater's construction solicitation was handled by the Washington County Purchasing Office, and as such, meets the requirements of state and local procurements. And with that, Mr. Rollins and I are here to accept any questions you may have, and Mr. Trott, I know, is in support.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the award of contract with Bowman Development Corporation for the delivery of the Urban Educational Campus BOE component project for a guaranteed maximum price of $18,677,201.36. The expenditure of $42,900 to the Maryland Theater for the construction of a third-floor pedestrian bridge connecting the theater to the new building to be constructed by the Maryland Theater's general contractor.
Thank you, Mr. Roddenauer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Do you have any questions for Mr. Rollins and Mr. Prue? Any discussion on the matter?
This is a serious question. Why the 36 cents? Is that for a boat or something? Or? I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
The final price is what the final price is, Mr. Stauffer.
Mrs. Fisher?
This has been a long time coming, and I am sure happy that it's finally going to be a reality.
I think we all echo that, Mrs. Fisher. I think we all sitting here feel the same way. Mr. Roddenauer?
I would agree with that, obviously, with what Jackie said, but the other thing, a real thank you to the Bowman Development Corporation, the Bowman Corporation, because they've been, how many years has it been now, Rob, that they've been? 5 years that they've been working with us and working with the county and working with everybody else to try to get this thing moving. And, you know, obviously, they're an entity, they'll have their profit, but they have a lot invested in this also. So a shout out to them, and for everybody who thought this was a pipe dream 12 years ago when we first put the shovel in the ground for BISFA, and now this, after 5 or 6 years of planning and hopefully getting something, this is good stuff. You know, ask people throughout the state, other than the Baltimore City School for the Arts, where is the other art school in the state? And it takes a while when we say Hagerstown, most people are amazed. But it is a huge success story, so I'm very happy that this is moving forward in my lifetime.
Anyone else?
If I could just thank staff, Mr. Prue, Mr. Rollins, Mr. Trotta, along with the Bowman Development Group, a lot of other partners have worked on this for several years, various pieces and parts of this thing, so I'm glad to see it come to a true starting point tonight with tonight's vote, but they have worked very hard to make this happen as well, so I appreciate staff's efforts. Again, Mr. Trotta and Rob and Jeff and a number of other people have worked hard to make this happen.
I think Mrs. Williams as well. I did not mention Mr. Faree and Mr. Tedrick from Bowman Development are behind us.
Yes.
They've been tremendous partners through all the work and representing Mr. Bowman and his interests, and it's been a pleasure to work with them as well.
Thank you for being here, gentlemen. Anything else? Okay, so our vote is on the approval of the award of the contract with Bowman Development Corporation for the delivery of the Urban Educational Campus BOE component project. All those in favor? 6-0, and the student member concurs. Thank you, Mr. Rollins.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prue. And we're back to the superintendent's report, second half.
Okay. In addition to a wide variety of student award ceremonies over the last couple of weeks that many of you had the opportunity to participate in, had the opportunity to run down to Baltimore this morning to participate in the state recognition of Teachers of the Year across the county, or excuse me, across the state. Janine Horst was there for Washington County, our most recent Teacher of the Year. It's a pleasure to be there with her and watch her being recognized by the State Board of Education, Dr. Salmon and others, for being named Washington County Teacher of the Year. The last item that I have today, I wanted to bring the public up to date on our Synergy progress. Tremendous thanks to our technology staff, to our teachers, our ESP staff, our administrators for working so hard to kind of get us recovered here from the fire and situation, I guess at this point almost a month ago. Very pleased to report at this time, Parent View and Student View should be up and available. We hope to have it up by tomorrow morning or tomorrow sometime. Staff has brought that back online, so students, you should be able to view your grades as of now. Teachers do have until May 31st to enter any grades they might be behind on getting entered or haven't had the opportunity to enter. I know many of them have worked over the weekend, have worked evenings to make that happen. Again, I appreciate their hard work. More than 800,000 grades have been entered since last Wednesday afternoon. It amounts to about 41,000 different assignments have been identified, and again, about 800,000 grades. So these are grades that occurred over the last several weeks, as well as grades that teachers had for students at the time of the outage. So again, just my appreciation to all those folks, and again, our technology staff. People don't understand how we recovered this data. Our staff reverse engineered a lot of work and actually added it back into Synergy with their approval to pull this information back together. So a huge, huge credit to our staff to work so hard. I do want to make the public aware. We're certainly apologize for the inconvenience of this. We've become very dependent on a system that's instant. Most of us, when we grew up, we saw our grades every 9 weeks. Our students are interested in seeing them every 9 minutes, and I think that's a good thing, to be that interested and passionate about keeping up with your grades. So it certainly was different for them not to have this availability. So we do apologize for that. We are going to continue to review the status of what happened. We've got a lot of work still to do just to check out various things with our vendors. But one thing we are putting into place would be an independent audit of our technology systems, our policies, our practice, our hardware, software setups. So Mr. Bechtel, that Jeff was filling in here for today, already has a pretty good draft put together of a request for proposal, an RFP, where we'll be seeking an outside company to come in and review things. A couple school systems do this every 3 years, and I think what would be a good practice for us would be just to go ahead and establish that in the budget as a reoccurring practice to constantly review technology. As most people are aware, it constantly changes, and it's so critical to our success. We want to be sure that we don't have an outage like this again in the future. So again, I apologize for the delay in getting things back up, but I'm very pleased to announce that Student View and Parent View is back up as of today, and I think we've recovered the very best we can. And again, I just credit staff for the hard work, particularly our teachers that have worked hard to make sure they reflect accurate grades for our students. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. Okay, that brings us to personnel action. Dr. Bishop.
Good evening, Dr. Michael, Mrs. Williams, Mr. Stauffer, and our board members. As discussed earlier in closed session, there's several staff changes for your review. So at this time, I ask for your approval of today's personnel actions.
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. The vote is on personnel action as discussed earlier in closed session. All those in favor? 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Bishop.
Thank you.
Mrs. Williams, if I might, I'd like to, as I have in the past, announce senior staff or principal moves. So three moves tonight. Miss Jana Palmer, current principal, Williamsport Elementary, will be our new executive director of elementary education here as part of CES staff. Gary Willow, principal down at Boonesboro Middle School, will be the new principal at Smithburg High School. Mr. Willow has past high school experience, and I'm sure he'll do an outstanding job at Smithburg. And Lindsay Reynolds, the current assistant principal at Springfield Middle School, will be the new principal at Boonesboro Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. We'll move on to reports to the board, and we'll change things up a little bit this evening and start with Curriculum and Instruction Committee.
Okay, the Curriculum and Instruction Committee met this morning, and Dr. Pugh and Kate Long and Amy Saylor gave a presentation on the middle school program of studies. It was very interesting. All board members that were not in attendance will get a copy of this to review, and it's very well done. I think you'll be very pleased to look it over and give any comments that you have to Dr. Pugh. And I think we will meet again on August 28th.
Okay, thank you. And Facilities Committee, Mr. Gessford isn't here this evening. Is there anyone prepared to say anything about facilities? I think it's been a while since they've met. So we'll move to Finance. Mr. Bickford?
Finance Committee met this morning to go over the third quarter budget adjustments. We also had a report on our, I think it was our annual grants report, where we go over the many grants. That it's amazing how many grants come through WCPS. One of the more exciting ones is we actually got a grant to purchase 4 essentially robots that will be used for students who can't attend class to actually be able to attend class through the help of a robot. So I'm anxious to see that when those come online. And we have decided to meet in August on Tuesday, the 28th at 8 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Mr. Ryder, Human Resources?
We will be meeting at the end of June, where we'll get some numbers as far as our staffing is concerned, some close to final numbers anyway.
Mr. Ryder. Mrs. Fisher, Policy Review and Development Committee.
Well, policy has not met since our last business meeting, and we will be scheduling a meeting, excuse me, in June, but at this time, we do not have a set date. It'll be coming soon.
Thank you. Anyone have anything else? Mr. Diallo, I'm sorry. Anything for student government? Anything you'd like to make us aware of?
We're having our last meeting here at Central Office next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. So I'll should be sure to update you guys. We're just going to be, celebrating everything we've done this year. We finished writing our Constitution the whole year, which was a drag. Like, it was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
But hopefully that's going to hopefully that's going to set a good precedent for like years to come. So if you guys would like to come, I'll definitely be sure to update you guys on the information on this.
Wonderful, thank you very much. All right, under miscellaneous business, consideration of future agenda items. We have coming up in July, although we will be having meetings in June, we have coming up in July a report on discipline in school suspension and out-of-school suspension, and another report on autism, life skills, and the summit programs. It'll be an update on those programs, as well as the quarterly health care update in July. If you have any suggestions for upcoming business meetings, please let a member of the Agenda Planning Committee know. We'll see what we can do about getting those on the agenda. That's all I have for future agenda items, so we'll move to board member comments. Mr. Reiner, would you like to begin down there?
No.
You wouldn't? Okay.
We're setting a record for speed of getting this meeting finished, so Peggy, we're still on. It's been a good day. So nothing right now, thanks.
It has been a good day. Mrs. Fisher.
I just want to say congratulations to Mr. Mike Embley, Supervisor of Food and Nutrition Services, and his staff for the recognition they recently received in helping to control and combat childhood hunger by serving over 100,000 meals last summer throughout Washington County.
Mr., what's your name? Mr. Stauffer.
Smith. I just want to commend Mr. Alton and his tech people for the dedication that they showed in trying to restore all this data and information that we lost because of a freak accident. A couple people approached me out in the public and said, who's responsible for that? They ought to be fired or jailed and this and that and the other, but I didn't quite think it was that bad. Maybe a suspension or something, but no. But you guys be commended for your dedication.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Mr. Bickford.
Nothing from me.
Mrs. Murray.
I've been to a lot of awards ceremonies with my colleagues. Many of us have been different places the past couple of weeks. Three things I'd like to point out. I went to the Marshall Street Prom and had the best time of my life. Those kids really know how to dance. It was so much fun. I was a judge for the We the People exhibition at Salem Avenue Elementary, and I was very proud to be there. And also, I was representing the board at Children's Village on Saturday when they awarded Bryson Winters for saving his grandmother's life, things that he learned when he was in the second grade at Children's Village. So I was very proud to be there and see him being awarded. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Diallo.
Nothing from me today.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to echo our superintendent's thanks to our tech department, Mr. Alton, to all of the teachers out there who have been inconvenienced and who have put in long hours and will continue to do so to help straighten out a situation that was indeed unfortunate. But it happened. Dr. Michael saw us through it, and my thanks to all who got us through that little incident that was so much more than anyone could ever have anticipated with just a little fire in the mulch. So. And I would like to say that I've kept a promise to Ms. Chekovic, our board assistant. I told her we'd get out of here early tonight, so I want to say I made good on that promise. And with that, I'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you.